Well,
Okay.
Chris, I really enjoyed our first podcast. I learned a lot of things about myself. So really enjoyed talking to you. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, sometimes when you relate things that are in your head and it actually comes out as words, it makes a big difference,
Oh, definitely.
and sets in your head a little differently.
Triggers a lot of
So
memories.
It does trigger memories, yeah.
Yes.
So I have a series of quick questions that maybe you can answer quickly, but if not, we'll just spend a little time with it. But one of them was like, what's the biggest motivation you have during rough times?
Surviving.
Surviving. Okay.
That's the bottom line. I'm a bottom line person. You're just trying to stay alive
Okay.
because you see so much death around you and suffering. So that's the biggest thing. How do you get over through the day, the next hour, the next half an hour?
Okay. Second one was, can you describe who your biggest inspiration was?
Oh my God, definitely my father. Definitely my father. Not because he was my father,
Why?
because he never gave up.
Okay.
He was always very positive. He never thought there's something in the world he cannot do. From a very young age, he was working from the age of 5, 6, never went to school. And we were one of the most successful family in Zanzibar. And I'm not even talking about financially. As far as happiness, he used to throw parties, as you bring artists. He knew how to live. During the day, he was a businessman. At night, he was a radio singer. Weekend, he was a party animal.
I think some of that has rubbed off on you, don't you think?
Of course, I have to make my father proud.
That's one thing I do know about you. So what values do you regard as important that your parents instilled in you that you still carry today?
Well, I think being down to earth, being respectful, being honorable, treating everybody equally. My father taught me everybody's not equally intelligent. Everybody's intelligent in their own way. Everybody's good in their own way. Everybody's bad in their own way. But you have to have an open mind. And one of the things he did was amazing. Because remember, I'm talking about the 60s.
Right.
Okay? I mean, that at that time, people
Different
were...
ethic completely.
Yeah, and people were very... not that... people were very ignorant. They were very set in their way. They were very... control-minded, or, they were not open-minded at all.
Right. It's very provincial.
Yes. And what I loved is we moved into this, now we were in Dar es Salaam, we moved into this new house in Upanga, and in our living room, there were like 5, 6 pictures. And my father had a picture of Ali, our Shakarim Aga Khan, our religion.
Right.
He has a picture of Jesus
Who just
Christ.
died recently, right?
Yes, he just passed away a few months ago. We had a picture of Jesus Christ, and we had pictures of Indian gods and Buddhist gods, and we had all this different. So me remembering asking my father, but these are all different religion, and we are Aga Khan Ismail. He goes, yeah, but all religion are true. You need to respect everybody equally. Doesn't make any difference. You go to church, you go to temple, you go to masjid, you go to mandil. All religion are true, and you need to respect people from all different religions. We're all equal. Now, he was preaching that to a 6, 7-year-old kid in the 60s. So that was amazing.
Yeah. A lot to comprehend.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was your least favorite job that you had in your life?
Well,
Or can you look at it that way?
When I look at it that way, well, quite honestly, it's very difficult for me to look at it that way because I needed jobs and work in my life so I could make money to support myself. So anytime I had any job, there was a time I worked at Tuna Masters full time, and I worked at a chrome plating the mag wheels of the 80s.
How about delivering
70s.
newspapers in
Delivering
New York?
newspaper in New York in the 70s.
In a skyscraper.
Yeah, so every job was extremely important to me, and I appreciated it so much. I thank everybody for getting that opportunity to work to make money so I can put food in my belly. So you don't get time to dislike something.
Right.
Disliking something is like a jackpot.
Yeah. Plus, you were the oldest child.
Yes.
So you had other responsibilities as well.
Yes, but see, I was alone in the U.S.
Yeah.
for many, many years. I was alone in Dar es Salaam.
Yeah.
I never grew up with my siblings, my brother or my sister.
Right.
First time we saw each other, there were, he was already 18. My
Yeah,
sister
the
was
age
18.
difference between your brother and you is
7 years.
7 years. Yeah.
6-7 years.
Yeah. So that's not really
Yeah.
someone you would be hanging
and my
out
sister
with.
is 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
3-4 years.
Yeah.
So nearly the same. But when we met each other when we were 18, 19, we didn't even know each other.
What was the most remarkable moment that you can recall in your childhood? And is there a moment in your life that felt like it was a turning point?
First of all, that's a great question. You know what I love about it? Because, and a lot of people might not understand, every moment in my life has been a turning point. I cannot say anything like today is another turning point of my life.
Right.
I'm doing my podcast, right? I might have one person listen to it or a million people listen to it. I don't know.
Well, I'm listening. That's for
exactly.
sure.
So it's worth it. See?
Yes.
Even if one person listen to it, it's worth it for me.
Yes.
So every moment, I'm a very positive person. It's very difficult for a lot of people to understand a positive person. People say I'm positive, but most people don't even know the meaning of positive. If you're a positive person, you're positive 24/7. Even if your house burned down, you need to find something positive that came out of it. It's pretty difficult to do it.
You're very optimistic.
Very.
Yeah.
Very. I believe in hope. I believe in future.
You do.
I believe in faith.
Yep.
And that thanks to my father.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to he helped me get rid of my, weakness to be scared. I remember going to the revolution, I could hardly understand everything. And he goes, Shafik, we all have to die one day. Doesn't make any difference. You die today, tomorrow, or 80 years from right now.
Wow.
Die with dignity.
Wow.
Okay. Of course, at that time, I looked up to him. He was my savior. So I took those things very seriously.
Yeah.
But today, you know what? It's so true.
Yes, it is.
So true.
Well, what was the hardest decision that you felt you ever had to make?
Now, see, this might be, I don't think there's any decision that has been very hard for me to make after coming from the revolution. All the decisions I made in my life had nothing to do with me getting killed.
No,
so what decision would be difficult for me?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Sometimes people threaten me and I look and laugh and they get very angry at me.
You've had a few threats in your life, haven't you?
Yeah, quite a few. They've been trying to kill me for like 40 years.
Ever since you were 6.
Exactly.
So have you struggled at all? I don't see it, but maybe you have a different opinion about that. Have you struggled at all with the cultural changes? Coming from Zanzibar and your route to the United States, et cetera, moving between these countries. Did you ever find it difficult? Or?
Well, that's another great question. My God, you should ask me questions every day. No, if
I had the typewriter, I would probably be able to get this in the book.
Well, there's not any human being on this face of this earth that has not struggled.
True.
But I've never used my struggle as a reason why I would not accomplish something. Struggle is a part of life.
Yes.
Just like going shopping or celebrating or wedding or your birthday, you enjoy it. You have to enjoy your struggles too.
Well, you've always said that it doesn't matter if I don't celebrate your birthday on the particular day. Your birthday's every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I've struggled a lot, but I would not call that struggle.
Mm-hmm.
It's more my educational journey through life, which sometimes is a lot harder than the other times.
Right.
You have to deal with it.
So, do you have a different definition for success today that you did than you did years before?
Well,
you feel it's developed?
Well, in my childhood, when I was growing up, going through the revolution and political changes and living one country after another, going to Pakistan, going to New York, going to California, it was, I learned different things. My struggles were different. My thinking was very different. So every moment in my life has helped me get to the point I am right now.
You've also had to rely significantly on what you're thinking, how you're going to figure these things out. You had to rely on your own innate thinking on that. You couldn't rely on someone telling you something because you experienced it and then you had to deal with it right then and there.
Yes, of course. Well, and that's another very good question. One thing I learned from my father,
Mhm.
he made all his decision under 10, 15 seconds. He knew exactly what he
Yeah,
wanted.
you've always been that way too.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
if he did something wrong, he did it wrong 100%. If he did something right, he did it right 100%. There was no middle ground. There's no 80, 70, 80, 60%. Okay. So with me, I make my decision very fast and I have no problem making decision. I was very decisive when I was 6 years old. If I'm going to go this way, if I'm going to go to school, if I'm going to do my homework, if I'm going to take a shower, if I'm going to wash my clothes, if I'm going to eat, if I'm not going to eat, if I'm sick, if I'm not sick, all those decisions are very tough for a 6, 7, 8-year-old to make.
Yeah. Or anyone,
They're very tough.
any age.
So because I had to make all those decisions really quick, I think I'd struggle, but I think somebody else in my position would have struggled a lot more
Hmm.
because I've gone through such a rough time.
Hmm.
And for me, that was very normal time because I was a little kid. I didn't know what was right or wrong. So when I'm going through this revolution and this and that and change of city and state and traveling, it was very normal for me.
I think some of these challenges that you had to face is really what produced the type of person that you are today.
Oh, definitely. In my 65th birthday, and I'm 67 years old, I made a speech over there and I said, I've already lived 100 lifetimes.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of my life. And I thank for everybody that has helped me through this journey that I don't want to change even one thing in it. I don't want the revolution to disappear. I don't want me being away from my parents to disappear. I want all the problems I've gone through because each and every one of them was a very good learning experience. When I sit back here today, I've had an amazing, amazing life. And I promised myself at my 65th birthday that this is the fourth quarter of
Yeah.
my life.
Mhm.
And I plan to live another 100 lives. And, I have a lot of love and respect for the game of basketball. And Kobe Bryant was my idol. And fourth quarter was his time. He just wanted the ball. It didn't matter how many points he was losing the game. He was going to make sure his team won.
So speaking about sports, how do you think basketball compares with how you challenge life?
I love basketball. That's like kind of my religion game. It's
Mhm.
just like you have 24 seconds, score or give up the ball, period. And that's the way I'll make my decision. Make all my decision under 20 seconds. Either works or it doesn't work. Basketball, I think, is one of the most intelligent sport.
Yeah, I've never known you not to take up any challenge or anything that comes your way. You analyze it very quickly and you make a decision right then and there.
Well, when you're decisive,
Yeah.
when you are in a war and you hear bullets on the left side of your street,
Right.
you have to decide, you're going to go left? Are they going to be in right if you go left?
Yeah.
Are you go backwards? You're going to go back home? Or you're going to try to sneak through? And at that time, your life matters. Like when I was in Karachi, Pakistan in 71, and I was stuck during the India-Pakistan war, we are in this big, beautiful city of Karachi. And Indian air fighters are dropping 1,000-pound bombs. Which building is going to fall in tonight? Which building are you going to sleep in tonight? Which restaurant are you going to go eat tonight? Which street you're going to take tonight on your way home?
Right.
Or which mosque you're going to go in and hide? Because you don't know where their bomb is dropping.
Yeah, and we haven't really gotten into your experience, leaving Tanzania and your father sending you up to Pakistan, to live with your uncle, and how difficult that was for you. I mean, that's a whole
definitely.
story all in itself.
That's another few podcasts.
Yeah, that's
few months of podcasts.
We'll have to get into that at some point.
Yes.
So what's the biggest life lesson that you can share with us today?
That's another good question. What am I going to do with? There's no such thing as a bad question in life.
No, there's not. You're right.
Well, life experiences, it's very important to be as honest as you possibly can. Don't be stubborn and hard-headed.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get anywhere in life. Have a lot of patience. Don't get mad. Don't get angry. Be very intelligent. I have friends, for example, they drink a lot and they wonder why they get sick. Or they smoke a lot and they wonder why they get sick, cancer and all that. live your life very intelligently.
Right.
If you know smoke causes cancer, why smoke? If you know alcohol causes cancer, why drink? Driving a car is a very dangerous piece of machinery. Why drive fast? So, the biggest lesson I've heard is be disciplined, be respectful of the law, be respectful of other people, other religion, be kind, have more patience, be a bigger person. If somebody does you something wrong, forgive and forget it, move on. That's in every religion.
Do you think that because your childhood was kind of shortened with a lot of heavy responsibilities, do you feel like you missed your childhood somewhat?
Well, I have no regrets.
No, of course not.
Okay. So I might have missed my childhood, but here's a positive person talking. But I have more time as an adult than I had as a child. So I gained a lot of knowledge. I gained a lot of happiness. I gained a lot of confidence because I had to grow up quick and make my own decisions. And today, a lot of people around me, including my family member, take a long time to make a decision. I know. I love making decisions. Period.
Actually, your family somewhat depended on your abilities as you got older and they got older.
Yes.
Didn't they?
Yes. But we all have learned from each other. We all work together as a team.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm talking about my kids. I have 5 beautiful kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all born in the United States. They're all made in America. Nobody's made in Africa. But my upbringing and my where I grew up, how I grew up is totally different than theirs. They have lived in a very beautiful country. They grew up under laws and, they had a proper childhood. They had toys. They had Disneyland. They had Magic Mountain.
But they didn't have the buckets that you could ride down the street in the water.
I talked to them so many times a day. Where are you? What are you doing? Over there, nobody cared. Everyone was peaceful. Nobody got lost. If you lose your kid, it's somebody's house, and they're keeping him. The people didn't even worry if they didn't need their kids. They sent them next day.
So tell me a little bit about your experiences with your dad when you said you used to have to go to work with your dad and he would take you to different parts of Tanzania.
Yes. Well, when my father moved to the mainland, Dar es Salaam, he had a furniture store. He had a guest house, which is like a motel. He had other businesses. And he would take me to the store, sit down. And on Sunday, he would take some time day off. At the age of 10, he would send me to the store with all the workers. And I was so proud. I was in charge of the whole furniture store, the whole business. I sat like a king. My father was not, when my father is in the business, I have to sit down and sit properly. I couldn't put my father would put his legs up on his desk and laugh and talk and joke. So on Sunday, that's what I did. I raised my legs. I was like a king till I got home, I went back to my smaller pad.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about your feelings on when you had to move to Pakistan?
Well, even at that moment, coming from...
How old were you at that point?
That was 1970, so I was about 12 years old.
Okay.
Because I was born end of 57.
Yes.
So, we were on the run from Zanzibar to Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam, the law were changing. Once again, our property was nationalized. Our businesses were nationalized. Our farms...
In Dar es Salaam.
In Dar es Salaam again. Wow. Same thing. The money in the bank was nationalized.
Right.
Corruption was on its way up. So we had to sooner or later leave that too. So
one thing you didn't mention that I recall, you might want to talk a little bit about it, is how you reacted when you said your uncle was shot.
Yes, but that was in the later years because my uncle was shot when I was in the United States. But that's one of the tragedy of the family. He was only 30-some years old.
And in Tanzania.
In Tanzania.
Yeah.
And, I was in shock. I'm still in shock. But it was very normal, people getting robbed and people getting killed. Now imagine for a country that we couldn't even see a gun if we wanted to. And the cops carried a little stick. All of a sudden, after the revolution, everything went downhill really quick. Corruption was up. People were getting robbed. People were getting killed. Houses were getting robbed to the point my father, who never held a gun in his life, he was starting keeping guns. We had to go out with bodyguards surrounding us.
Oh my God.
So it's everything, changed so fast, so quick. And that's why one of the reasons we left Dar es Salaam. Everybody was talking about in our mosque that, go to Karachi, go to Pakistan. And my father had a friend in American embassy. He said there's a beautiful American school in Murray Hills in Lahore, north of Pakistan, so he can get admission. And there are a lot of other schools, Catholic schools, St. Patrick's, St. Paul's.
Which you went to
in
for
Karachi,
a short time,
yes.
right? Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons we moved there. My father had a younger brother. Him and his new wife, they moved there too, because they had applied for their American visa. While they're waiting for the visa, it was not that safe to live in Dar es Salaam or Tanzania. It was better to live in another country. It was more safer. So we went to move to Karachi. I moved with them with an understanding as soon as, we went there during summer, the school was closed.
Mm-hmm.
When the school starts, I'll go down to the Murray Hill School, American College of Lawrence, some kind of a name,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was supposed to go there.
It's kind of like shock therapy, isn't it?
Oh, of course.
I mean, all these different experiences, different cultures, different countries.
Yeah. Imagine I would have thought I would live and die in Zanzibar.
Yeah.
That's it. I was looking forward to when my father, at the age of 5, when he gets old, I'm going to run the shop.
Yeah.
I'm going to have the textiles.
Which is a normal experience for any young kid thinking they're going to work with their dad.
Yeah, we work with our dad. We take over the family business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the life rolls in Zanzibar.
Right.
So,
right.
Well, Chris, nice talking to you. And for all your listeners, thank you for listening. I appreciate it.